Wow, everybody. Who would have thought this Overwatch season would have been one of the Overwatch seasons? That is crazy. Overwatch 2 Season 18. How do we all feel about it? Bit of a long silence there. That was a bit awkward. Yeah, I guess it was an okay season. There were some problems. There were some good parts, though. I mean, Wuyang is pretty cool. Oh, man, I feel like I'm going to tear into this season, actually, now that I think about it. I'm not scripting anything. I'm kind of just going off the top of my head because I'm trying to, like, refresh how this season went for me. I had a great time at the start of the season. Although, for the first, like, 5 hours of the season starting, the servers were having issues. There was a couple of bugs in the game. For example, Hammond was so broken with his acceleration. Like, it was so easy for him to get, like, max acceleration. That he was quad booping with ease, right? You know, your child, that's right, I know you have a child, could have picked up ball and just done it with absolute ease. It's crazy. Cassie was able to one-shot people with one of his newest perks, right? They ended up giving Lucio a skin this season. Hazard had an infinite block bug. Diva had some visual glitches. May has like an infinite freeze bug with one of her perks or something like that. It's wild. There was a lot of stuff going on. And on top of that, the servers like not letting people log in, or they would get into the game and then they get kicked out of the game and be a 20,000 player in queue or something like that. It's annoying, bro. Now, why do I bring this up? Why do I bring this up, guys? Well, it's quite simple. Why do we not get compensation whenever the servers just absolutely crap the bed? You know what I mean? Is it something so much to ask for? You know what I mean? Last time I think we got actual compensation for Overwatch just fumbling the bag was Gingerbread Bastion? That was more so a gift. I mean, it might have been the Cursed Captain Reaper skin. Do you guys remember this skin? A lot of you probably don't, because some of you guys are new to Overwatch. We got the skin in October 2022. Why did we even get this skin? Does anyone remember? I think Overwatch was just kind of fumbling the bag left, right, and center. The skin prices were terrible. They still kind of are. But, you know, there was just a lot going on at the time where, you know, they're like, don't worry, here's a free skin for you guys when you log into the game. And everyone's like, holy moly, no one plays Reaper. And now people do, right? But yeah, moving on. You know, server issues. Yeah, players deserve compensation for like server issues and all that sort of stuff, especially start of the season. I know a lot of my viewers have like college and like lives and jobs, and they're unemployed and they got other battle passes to finish, man. We do not have time to wait around for the servers to get fixed, man. We got to get in, we got to play. And if, hey, things go wrong, give us 5 battle pass tier skips or a legendary loot box or maybe 1 golden Overwatch coin to make up for the Gingerbread Bastion incident. You know, nothing too crazy, right? Now, core Overwatch, 5v5, 6v6. I played a bit of both of them this season. I've more so stayed on the 6v6 side of things, simply because I think the community in the 6v6 is a lot more, I guess, nice. It's like when I play 5v5 and like people realize I'm in queue for 5v5, I get target banned on Lucio so much, man. It's so like incredibly annoying, and it's fine, right? People will be like, oh, just play other heroes and all that sort of stuff. I know how to play Life, I know how to play Wuyang, I know how to play Kiri. I like playing Iati, but this character freaking sucks unless your other support is outputting the most craziest healing ever and you're hitting every single shot known to man, right? And it's like, yeah, I know how to play him, but I don't have as much fun on those characters as I do like playing Lucio, right? I was hoping that Wuyang would be the next awesome movement support, but he has the exact same movement as Juno. And what I mean is you press shift and you get a move speed boost and you have a bit more free movement. Juno's movement is press shift and you have free movement. And, you know, obviously hers is more in the air and Wuyang, you get like a super jump, right? But their movement feels the exact same to me. Until the Overwatch team can actually just copy and paste Lucio's wall riding and chuck it onto a DPS, a tank, or another support, I don't think I'll ever be satisfied with any character's movement in this game, unfortunately. I think Hazard has some cool movement text in him, but it still feels very basic. Doom is probably up there on the characters that has fun movement, and so is Mercy, man. And people are going to be like, no, she doesn't. You just press shift and all that sort of stuff. Get into the Mercy parkour and then talk to me. Trust me, guys. She's got some crazy movement text, man. But yeah, I'll talk a bit about Wuyang in a bit. Now, core Overwatch, the start of the season was absolutely amazing. We finally had Sojourn nerfed down to 250 health. No, 225 health. Cass at 250. Those are the two things I've been asking for. And at the time, since Lucio was at 22 damage, I had such a good chance of beating these characters in 1v1s now. It was like, okay, I dodged the flash, and I'm not going to leave this guy on like 2 health or something like that, right? And it's like, he dies last patch, or he dies in a future patch, or something like that. It wasn't that situation. Sojourn, she's still really strong in high ranks. She's obviously not as good in the lower ranks, right? But boy, oh boy, it is so easy to take out this character now. If you get up and closer and she's not really getting any support from her team or something like that, you have a very high chance of winning the 1v1s because of the 225 health. It's kind of like the same thing with Freya, where I was really surprised people found this character to be super strong, because I found that, like, if I would just run up to this character in 1v1, she would kind of crumble if she didn't have her, like, jump up into the air thing. Although the one thing I do have to criticize about Freya, which I never talked about in any of my previous videos, is the sound design on this character when you get hit by the bolt is the most annoying sound I've heard it to man. If you have played tank into a Freya, it is some of the most annoying sounds I've ever heard in my entire life. Just shing, 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 just in your ear. And it's like, what were they thinking with this sound design? Like, it's like, yeah, it sounds cool if you're hitting bolts, if you're playing as it. But if you're in the middle of a team fight and you just hear this in your right ear, it's just, I can't do it, man. So it's like, yeah, a lot of the DPS characters I don't really have much of a problem with as of the start of the season, right? Obviously, some things that have changed, right? The only characters I really banned and ranked at the time was Hazard and Venture, and I guess kind of Roadhog, right? And the reason why I banned Roadhog, he punishes my positioning, right? So it's annoying to play into. Hazard has just some insane burst, and I'm surprised his character has really gone unchecked in terms of damage, right? Because if you verse a really good Hazard player, it's really hard to counterplay this guy, especially in 5v5, because you can't boop him away. If you try to, like, boop him off the map, he just kind of instantly climbs back up, or he can use his wall to save himself and all that sort of stuff, right? So that's really irritating, right? And Venture is just a character where they press a button and they get shields. Why can't they just get shields for damaging players? Why is that something that they just don't want to do? You know what I mean? It's like if a Venture drills into me, give them shields. You know what I mean? And it's like it creates this whole thing where it's like, okay, are they going to get... It's like if I dodge their shift as they come out of the ground, they won't get shields and I'm out of range and all that sort of stuff. So it actually creates some form of counterplay, I guess. But it's just, I don't know. I just found it annoying that this character kind of just... Also as well, when they hit their like drill form like this thing, you cannot boop them during it. They're just fully unstoppable during it. And it's like... Rah, rah. Anyways. Yeah, I don't really like playing against most of these characters. Hanzo's also really, really strong, and then Reaper's also really, really strong, but at the time, I did not realize these characters were super strong. So, going into mid-season, yeah, they just had one of the best patches of all time, and they kind of just fumbled it so badly. And that's kind of like the pattern with most of these patches, it feels like. The start of the season starts off really good, content feels great, everyone's trying out the new perks or the new balance change and all that sort of stuff, and then mid-season comes around, and some of the issues that people are having with the season don't really get addressed. Reaper is one of the best DPS in the game, in high ranks at least, right? He was one of the best DPS in the game at the time. I don't know if he's kind of just been nerfed down or something like that yet in the mid-season patch. But at the time, if you took the Shadow Step cast time is 25% faster, but the range is reduced, right? And also if you took the Fire the Volley with long range actually for both Hellfire, you get a right click, right? Where you basically get to do something like this. That damage is absurd. That damage is absolutely absurd, right? Where Reaper becomes an absolute poke character. But the whole playstyle basically was like, you would TP in, right? You would fight a little bit, you would like kill someone, you would Wraith form out, and it was so easy to farm kills on this character, right? Or you would go in, right? You would be in a fight or something like that, and then you can instantly just TP out super quick, right? And it was so hard to punish that I am so shocked that is a minor perk, bro. That is a wild perk for early game because it just pretty much changed the entire flow of the game. So it's wild to see that Reaper was actually one of the characters I saw getting banned a lot. And then another character that's also really strong is Hanzo. I can't really know why. I don't really remember why Hanzo was super strong at the moment. I think it's just simply they made some changes to him a while back and they kind of just kept buffing him over time or something like that. And now he's just become really good. People have been saying he's firing like logs or something like that, but I don't think he is. I think it's just like he's very like consistent in like 1v1s bursting tanks down. So it's like, yeah, it's more so this character's just kind of annoying if you get one shot or something like that. I don't know if the Sonic Arrows hacking health packs is really good, but yeah, for 30 seconds a health pack is hacked is actually pretty strong, especially if like, you know, you're attacking and you can kind of like, you're falling back to a health pack, you know, all that sort of stuff, right? That's really, really good. But yeah, and also maybe the Ricochet is really good, but I don't know, mate. Like Hanzo's also really, really good. I don't really know the exact reason why. And a lot of people have been complaining about Tracer this season, saying that she's too strong. Are we only just realizing this now? Because last I checked, I said Tracer was broken since season 9, guys. Ever since they put this character up to 175 health, I've been saying she's one of the best DPSs of all time. And there is no character that is better than her ever. Like, she is perfect in every single game. And that's fine. She's a well-designed character. She's meant to be, like, the face of the game. So, of course, she's going to be better all the time and all that sort of stuff, right? But ever since they buffed the DPS passive, melee damage, her health up, And also those hitbox changes and all that sort of stuff. And then adding her perks where she was able to get, you know, 2 blinks back and also health packs restore 1 blink charge. She is still the most hard, like she is so incredibly hard to like lock down in so many times, right? Where, you know, ever since they added that new Lucio perk where he was able to get the, you know, extra damage and knockback against her, it was a lot easier to 1v1 her. But then they nerfed Lucio down to 20 damage, which we'll talk about in a bit, right? Yeah, people have been saying this character is super broken this season. And I was just kind of like, oh, she's been kind of like strong since like season 9, but whatever, I guess. That's just my opinion, right? People are always going to see that differently. I don't need Tracer to be giga nerfed or something like that. They don't know what to do with this character. They put her damage up to 6, and then they put it down to 5.5, and then they've changed the spread, and then they changed the perk stuff, and then they changed this, and then all that sort of stuff. This character seems like a balancing nightmare or something like that. And then Genji's deflect gets nerfed or something like that. Genji's like a top 3 DPS as well, or like a top 5 in high ranks at least, right? He's really, really good. And yeah, I guess nerfing his deflect was the play. I don't really know. I don't know how you nerf this character or something like that, because if you nerf his damage down, his combo gets destroyed, and it's like if you nerf his fire rate or something like that, you nerf his ammo again or something like that. I mean, most of the Genji players have all gone off to Marvel Rivals. Who cares about this character anymore? You know what I mean? Anyways, I'm just joking around. But yeah, you know, as for the balance, it felt really good at the start of the season, but as time went on, it went really bad. But I haven't addressed a certain elephant in the room. That's right, it's your boy, Wuyang, one of the newest characters added to the game. This character is so strong, and this character is going to get what I like to call Juno'd, or Malga'd, or Frey'd, or, not Hazard, because Hazard is also good, and Venture is still also very, very good. Yeah, he's going to probably get what I like to call the Juno treatment, where he gets like a nerf in mid-season, right, to his cooldowns, which wasn't really the problem with this character. The problem with this character is simply just his damage output. Sorry, I just had dinner. His damage output is absolutely insane. Where 1v1ing a Tracer, for example, all it takes is 2 charge shots. Obviously, a good Tracer with good movement, yeah, they're going to be able to dodge that easily. But if you're like playing someone like Cass, for example, right, the poke from this character is insane. That it's pretty much like most hit scans at a range are not going to be able to out DPS you, right? And I have watched some of the high rank, you know, like Wuyang players play the game, and they just roll every single lobby they are in. It's absolutely disgusting, right? And not to mention that this character pretty much synergizes with almost all the supports in the roster. Obviously, there might be some odd one outs, right? But it's kind of crazy that we have a character like Wuyang, and it feels like he works pretty well with Lucio, simply because his E plus an air peel is wild. It is so juicy and wild, man. It's great. It's wonderful, you know, because like, it's like, why is my, okay, whatever. I always worry when a new support comes out, they're not really going to synergize with Lucio that much, because Lucio doesn't really provide crazy healing output, and you know, maybe the other support might just be utility focused rather than like big heals or something like that. But it feels like they work well, pretty well, I guess, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, it's like Wuyang's big problem is simply just his damage is just really, really strong right now. I wouldn't be surprised if his damage on his left click gets nerfed, and then his E gets nerfed, and maybe his ult gets nerfed, and all that sort of stuff. And then finally, as they hit the final nail in the coffin, what I like to call getting Juno'd is the movement nerf, is when they just mess up his movement in his tidal wave, and he's just dead until some Juno player or some Wuyang player makes a TikTok talking about it, and then they're like, oh, we should probably do that, eh? But yeah. But positive things about Wuyang, I think his primary fire is absolutely sick. This whole thing is so cool, man. That's absolutely great. It's unfortunate I can't play this character really that well on ping, because, you know, I'm on 170 ping all the time, because I'm playing from, you know, Australia to American servers, right? So it feels really rough on ping. I would really love to learn this character, but, you know, it's like I miss so many shots when I play this character on ping, man. It's rough. And it's nice that we finally have a young dude in Overwatch. You know what I mean? We have a 19-year-old in Overwatch, guys. Do you understand how crazy that is? You understand how crazy that is? Last 3 girls in Overwatch have all been like 18, 19, 21. Well, Freya doesn't count, but you know what I mean. But yeah, we've had so many young girls. You want to know who the second youngest dude in Overwatch is? Take a wild guess if you're not into Overwatch lore. That's right. It's Hazard. Look at him. Do you think I'm older than him? Because guess what? I'm 26. He's 25 or 24 or something like that. Venture is 26, bro. But yeah, it's nice to finally have a young dude in Overwatch and all that sort of stuff. I think that's great. This character is going to get so many skins, man. Lucio is going to be left in the ditch. Oh, well, it is what it is, right? If Lucio had a whole bunch of heals, maybe he would be popular or something like that. I don't really know, man. But yeah, I think he's pretty cool. Also, I did actually like the cinematic they did with him. People kind of talk about cinematics in Overwatch and how it's just not the same as what it used to be and all that sort of stuff. Yes, I know the cinematic style has changed and all that sort of stuff, but I think it looks good. The best way to think about it, or more so I like to look at the bright side of things, is I watch Invincible. If you watch Invincible, that's like one of the most popular superhero shows at the moment, man. And the animation in that is really rough. And the animation here is pretty damn cool. Where if I got an Overwatch TV show animated in this style, I wouldn't be complaining, right? I know, like, I miss the 3D style stuff as well, but I still think like the 3D animation stuff or like this kind of animation is pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. So, you know, yeah. Hopefully we get. I'm just saying this because I want more animated stuff in the future, guys. I really want some Lucio cinematics. That's not gonna happen, but you know, whatever. But yeah, core Overwatch. It's okay. We'll see how the next patch goes, all that sort of stuff. It can't get any worse, you know, that sort of stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Lucio got nerfed down to 20 damage. It is what it is. I'm going to keep dragging it. I don't care. Now, where do we go, guys? Stadium. Oh, I've wanted to talk about Stadium. I've actually wanted to make a video dedicated to Stadium because Stadium kind of sucks. I'm just going to say it in the most blunt way possible. I think Stadium has fallen off massively. And looking at Stadium next season, it does not look like a good future. I think the gadget stuff is really cool idea. I've been wanting active items in the game because I've been playing a whole bunch of Deadlock. I just hit, I think it's Oracle rank or Phantom rank or something like that. Yeah, I played Doorman. He's really fun, right? And I wanted like active items in Overwatch. Obviously, you can't do a whole bunch because people are playing controllers, right? So they don't have enough like keybinds on their controller and stuff like that. But they're doing that next season. So like you press a button and you get to use like an extra ability. So it's like, you know, a little dash or like a thing that gives you move speed or invulnerability for like 2 seconds or something like that. It'll be really fun, right? Now, obviously I don't want to talk about next season yet. But my problem with Stadium is it's just stale. It hasn't really improved on what its biggest issues were, in my opinion, back from when it launched in season 14. And it feels less of a for fun game mode and it feels way too competitive and sweaty. And your response might be, oh, go play Quick Play then. It feels the exact same in Quick Play. I think Quick Play Stadium is a great choice and a great idea because, yes, now you can play with your console friends and all that sort of stuff, right? I think maybe giving powers on round 4 instead of round 5 would be good because it's kind of just like, you know, you get to full build and then by the time you get full build of all your powers, the game's already over. And that's the kind of thing that's a bit of a bummer because you only play the round for like 2 to 3 minutes unless it's like a stall fest, right? So there's that, right? Tracer also got added mid-season, and I think she's really fun. People are complaining about her, saying she's super strong and super broken. I think she's kind of a needed character to kind of like deal with like a lot of hardcore backlines, but she gets countered very easily by a Cass or a Brig or just a Moira right-clicking her non-stop, right? Even with like Ana, for example, right? She has a power in Stadium that gives her 500% collision size on her sleep dart, where her sleeps can pretty much just have a gigantic hitbox. It is such a broken item. I hope it gets nerfed next season, right? Because it is absolutely absurd trying to play any flanker into this character. Like, people have been kind of downplaying Ana a whole bunch, and I kind of said she was pretty weak, but if she runs the right build and sleep and goes a bit tanky, she is an absolute beast, and it is impossible to fight this character, right? So, you know, there's that, right? But what I'm trying to say is, it just kind of hasn't really improved, right? The Overwatch team did something new to this season where they did the draft picks, right? Where they were having, like, you were able to look into, you know, hero select and decide, oh, do I want to play... Like, you see what the enemy team is running. I see that the enemy team is running Mei, Zarya, Moira, Mercy. Do I really want to play D.Va into this because I'm last pick, right? Okay. And it's kind of like, no, I don't want to play D.Va into this. I'm going to play Zarya, or I'm going to play Reinhardt, or I'm going to play, you know, whatever, like Orisa or something. Orisa would probably not be a good choice, but it's kind of like you're able to make sure you're not picking a bad character in a comp. Yes, it kind of incentivizes counterpicking, but if you're stuck in a 30-minute game playing against like 4 beam heroes as D.Va, do you really want to be playing D.Va there? I don't really think so, no. So what, yeah, and it's like, that's good, that's great. But for some reason, they decided to introduce no mirror matches. So if you're a Lucio player and the enemy team picks Lucio before you, you don't get to play Lucio. And they're like, oh, we want to do this because we want to stop static metas and create some more variety in the game and all that sort of stuff. And it got rid of the static meta, sure. But instead, it created an absolute toxic environment where it's simply just, you pick the broken heroes before the enemy team picks the broken heroes, and you win the game. When I was playing with Aspen and Warren on the first couple of days, it was simply just, Warren, you pick Cass. Aspen, you pick Mercy or Kiri or Brig, and me, I play Winston. You know what I mean? And I was just like, yeah, it was It was not fun. It was really not fun because it's like the enemy team picked like Mercy and Kiri first. You weren't really going to win that game, and it wasn't really going to be like a fun time, right? It's like, I think no mirror matches could potentially work in like 3 years when all the heroes are in Stadium, but still, you have a very one-trick heavy fan base, or people only play like 1 to 2 characters. Most people probably just like are queuing up at Stadium to play that specific hero in general. If they were on a character they don't want to play, most people are just going to leave the game, right? Or they're just going to like just troll. But yeah, there was that, right? Sorry, and I kind of just derailed from the subject there, but my other problem with Stadium is that it is just so bursty in every single way, and it's very much build variety has died off massively. And I was going to give it a couple of seasons, and I'm going to give the Overwatch team like the benefit of the doubt to kind of fix a whole bunch of the issues with Stadium, but they kind of haven't really addressed it, right? Everything just feels very burst damage. You build one-shots as DPS heroes. As supports, you build hardcore burst heals, right? So, you know, your tank and DPS do not die, right? And as tanks, you just kind of build, you know, flat out damage, so you can just one-shot squishy heroes and all that sort of stuff, right? And that's fun. Like, it is fun to be super strong and super broken and all that sort of stuff, right? But if you're on the opposing end of that and you're behind and the enemy team is like one-shotting you, and it's like, okay, I look at this situation as Lucio, for example, right? And I'm getting one-shot by their Cass a whole bunch. Okay, I'm going to build armor, and I'm going to build Crusader Hydraulics. But the Cass has a whole bunch of weapon power. He has about 40% weapon power, right? So even though I'm building all this, I'm not going to be able to beat him in a 1v1 because, number one, he has a Mercy Pocket, and number two, he has a whole bunch of damage, and I'm sitting here still at 20 damage, right? I'm still very underpowered as Lucio. So I'm not going to be able to beat this guy in a 1v1 if I get caught by him, right? And I don't think my DPS are going to be able to beat him either because they don't have enough weapon damage because they're also behind on money, right? So it's like they have to build tanky so they don't die as easily. But even if they are building tanky, they're just delaying their death because they're not able to kill anyone, right? And I don't really know how to really like tackle this sort of thing, right? It's more so I wish Stadium wasn't as sweaty and serious, and I wish it was more just fun, dumb builds, right? You know, when the season started a while back, I did the melee only Lucio build where I just did like boot melee, right? And I built like Gloom Gauntlet, and then I built B-side bot with Vivace and fast forward and just went around just punching people nonstop. That was so fun, but that video took so long to kind of like get done because so many games were so hard to pull that off in, right? Because everyone was just wanting flat out weapon power or really strong heals, right? And it was not like a fun experience at all to really get done. And that's kind of why I haven't really done many Stadium videos, is simply because, yeah, I can do tank Lucio or something like that, but I'm still going to get one shot by the Cass with a Mercy Pocket, right? Or I'm not going to be able to really kill anything because they have such strong heals, and here I am just playing tanky Lucio while my team is dying because I didn't want to build ability power, right? You know, there's that. But yeah, it's basically, I think they should design more silly items, right? Like Reinhardt having his whole flying charge was awesome, but I don't see people run that anymore. It makes me really sad, right? Like, for example, even Tracer has like an ability power build with like her bombs and all that sort of stuff. But Tracer players aren't going to run this because weapon power is just 10 times better than ability power, right? Like, I've never really seen any Tracer run ability power, and if they have, they don't really get much value out of it, right? Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm getting at. The most fun build in the game, personally, is the Winston, like, jump build, where you get Primal Punch, Primal Slam, and Lunar Leap, and you build, like, hardcore, like, ability power, and just constantly slam people non-stop and try to build your ult as fast as possible, right? Like, if I land on these two people here, I get a whole bunch of ult charge, right? And if I get a melee kill, or like a slam kill, right? My jump insta resets, so then I can just jump again, right? It's so enjoyable and so fun. And the last one I also enjoyed a whole bunch was like the Diva bomb build, where, like, you know, you would build Daehan's detonator, your self-destruct would explode faster. And it was so gimmicky. Like, sometimes it would work and sometimes I wouldn't, but when it did work, it was so fun, right? Where it's like, I don't really want to run like the whole like legendary loadout super rockets build. I want to run just really like dumb builds and stuff like that. And I think that's where Stadium really shines, because if you look up most Stadium content, it's just best build to one-shot people, best build to never let people die, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I think characters in Stadium, some of them are balanced pretty decently, while some of them are really strong. Like for supports, for example, Mercy, Brig, and Kiriko are really, really strong at the moment. Kiriko's really strong just simply because of two Suzus, right? Mercy's only really strong simply because of, like, I guess, Amari's antidote. If you got rid of Amari's antidote, she would still be a really good character, right? But, you know, dealing increased healing with this character when they're below 50% life is absolutely insane early game because it gives her a whole lot of money. I'm not begging for some crazy Mercy nerf, but she has been hard meta in Stadium ever since the beginning in Stadium, right? Cass is also a super broken character. He's been strong for ages as well, right? Ash is really good. Soldier's really good. Tracer's really good, but like I said, she can get countered very easily by a Cass or a Brig or even the giant Ana Sleep Dart. She's one of those characters that seems to be a lot more easy to shut down simply because she can't get as much health. I do like how the Overwatch team balanced her, so you can't get a crazy amount of health on her, but there is ways to get around that sort of thing, like Vanium Injection, Phantasmic Flux, right, to make yourself super tanky. But they did tackle her pretty well, right? I'm curious to see if she gets nerfed again next season, though. But yeah, I guess that's kind of my opinion on Stadium. It's more so, yeah, I wish it was more for fun, less super serious. But yeah, let me know how you guys feel about that, because I do want Stadium to improve. I want to make more Stadium videos, but at the moment, I don't feel very interested in Lucio in Stadium, at least. I'm more so enjoying playing Winston, D.Va, and Tracer in Stadium. I don't think I'll post a video on those characters, but whatever. Last but not least, I think the skins this season were all pretty good. Obviously, Lucio got a skin. It's one of his best skins. Streetwear is absolutely awesome. Some people like this, some people don't. I like how the tongue's out. You know what I mean? It's great. I think this is a really nice Lucio skin. I think the gun looks cool. Obviously, the Galactic's on it, but yeah. Every skin here is pretty good. I'm not too crazy on the Gladiator Soldier skin, but that's just my personal preference, right? Hanzo skin, it's pretty good. Tracer skin, Free skin, really good. And the Streetwear Kiriko skin is phenomenal. And they introduced Universal emotes this season, which is pretty sick. Another thing as well is the update to the progression system. We have done a lot of talking, man. Update to the progression system. You finally actually get proper rewards for leveling up your characters. So if you're someone that hasn't played Overwatch in ages or had a whole bunch of levels, hey, you get a whole bunch of silver coins for like owning some of these stuff. And you also get a whole bunch of loot boxes for like leveling up these characters. So that's really nice. So, you know, big W from the Overwatch team for that one. So that's really good. Sorry. Thought someone's at my door. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, but my problem with the progression system is the rewards past level 50. You get a legendary loot box, right? That's cool. But that's it. That's the last bit of like crazy rewards. Instead, you just get these PNGs and text on the screen. I've never been too crazy on this sort of stuff simply because it's just text, right? And it's a PNG. And Overwatch is so behind in some of this cosmetic stuff that we used to get animated sprays in Overwatch 1. And they still haven't done an animated spray for like hitting a certain progression level. Like, give me an animated Lucio spray for hitting like level 100 or like 150 or something like that. Give me a reason to actually want to keep grinding past these levels for rewards. Maybe you could give us like a normal loot box for every like 5 to 10 levels or something like that. And it's not super crazy because by the time, if you're like me, for example, I own every single item in the whole category here. 2,600 for commons, 1145 for rares, and 722 for epic ones. That's wild. That's pretty good. But yeah, it's like, I feel like there should be definitely some more stuff because other games have some crazy good animated name cards, right? I remember Call of Duty Black Ops 1 had this bloody, like, what was it, 14 years ago? They had an animated name card when you hit level, like, 15 prestige, bro. And this game still doesn't have animated name cards yet. It's crazy. You tell me that I should be excited about some text? What the hell? Are you serious? Sorry, a little bit heated there, but you know, the progression stuff, regardless, like the earlier rewards, is really good. So that's really nice, right? What am I forgetting about, man? There's something else I'm forgetting about. Oh, the anniversary event. Yeah, this was kind of a lackluster anniversary event, man. I wish that we used to get like voice line. I feel like I'm such an Overwatch 1 fan in these times, or like in this video, bro. It's like, it kind of just feels like all these items that you were getting here, like Runasapi, Captain Sigma, these are just items they forgot to give out in previous seasons, right? You know, you go here, for example, in the customization name cards, for example, right? And go to season 18, you get the Bixie Hazard. Where is it? Bixie Hazard, right? We were meant to get this in Hazard's release season, I think, or one of his seasons, like season 14 or something like that. When he got that skin with the tail, it was like a $10 skin in the shop or something like that. And the same thing as well with like the Runasapi one. This was meant to be given out to players when Runasapi was released. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's a little bit weird, it's a little bit odd and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so I think it's a little bit of a letdown, but I do think getting legendary loot boxes, you know, mythic prisms, that stuff is great. That's all good. It's nice to play Junkenstein's Lab. I'm not touching Overwatch Classic. That game mode is evil. That game mode is evil, man. It's like, yeah, man, we brought back goats, and then you go into the game and everyone is playing DPS Doomfist. Yeah, bro, I remember these good old days where everyone was trying to play DPS Doomfist, I guess. I mean, yeah, he is fun, though. last but not least, well, two more things. Persona collab. Yeah, the Persona guy. Yeah. These were all pretty good skins. I don't have much to complain about. Panther Mercy looks cool. Joker Wuyang looks cool. Fox Life-Eater looks great. Genji Ryuji is Genji Ryuji. And Makoto Diva is pretty cool. Now, on the bright side, hey, the monkey paw has been pulled. Kiriko didn't get a skin. And that means, you know, since Diva got the Makoto skin, we're guaranteed to get Futaba Sombra in the next wave. If that ever happens, which I don't know if it will ever happen, but considering Identity V did like 3 waves, maybe Overwatch will get it. We'll have to wait and see, right? So hopefully they do something again in the future. I think I set my expectations way too high for this sort of thing because I was like, holy moly, what a crazy collaboration, right? And I just never thought something like that would happen with Overwatch, so that was really cool. But yeah, Lucio's never going to get anything in these kind of collabs, so it's quite unfortunate. Hopefully he gets a collab skin in the future, man. I just want a Lucio skin with custom sounds and like special like effects or something, or like special voice lines or something like that, man. I'm kind of bummed that we didn't even get a for real voice line for Genji. It's like, what? That's his like thing, you know what I mean? Oh, pancakes, you know what I mean? It's like, whatever. Ram still doesn't have his dance mode. That's also really disappointing. They said there were some tech issues though, so maybe it will come in the next couple of seasons. 5 or 6, 7 seasons. Something like that. And last but not least, I guess, is the Overwatch lore comic, Ramatra Storytime. This stuff was pretty cool. This was pretty much closing out the story. Well, it feels like it's closing out the story between Ramatra, or kind of like, I don't know how to explain it right, but like the way I watched this, I kind of just felt like this is the end of the Omnic Crisis or the Null Sector storyline. And the way this is kind of like working right is more so pushing towards a Talon versus Overwatch type thing, right? Which is not a bad thing. Me personally, when it comes to Overwatch lore stuff, I'm not super heavily into it, but I do like hearing about it, right, when it is talked about. I still don't know what the conspiracy is, and I still don't know what Case is doing in the story. You know what I mean? But regardless, I'm a big fan of Talon. I don't really care for Overwatch that much, except for like Lucio, you know what I mean? Everyone, it's like, oh, morally good people, yeah, and all that sort of stuff. Whereas Talon, everyone is anti-heroes, bro. Sombra's doing some shady stuff. Widow. I messed up the lore stuff. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, it's just kind of like, yeah, I do like Ramatra's character a lot. I hope this doesn't mean like this character, like this story being like, it feels like an ending to the story, right? It feels like Ramatra's being sidelined and chucked off to the side, right? I hope this isn't like the end of him and we won't really, like, we still get to see more of him in the future. But, you know, it does seem Overwatch is picking up with the story stuff. So that's really cool and all that sort of stuff. I'm really happy about that sort of thing. Yeah, I think that's cool that Overwatch pick up the story thing. I've kind of lost track of my thing. I've been talking for 30 minutes and I'm starting to get brain rot, guys. And I just wanted to do this all in one take. Sorry if I was super sloppy. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this season. I think it was okay. I would give it like maybe a 7 out of 10 or something like that. If there wasn't the Lucio nerf, I would have easily given it an 8 out of 10. And if Lucio got a skin with a music festival thing, I would have given it a 9 out of 10. Just kidding. I really don't care about the music festival stuff. Oh, well, it is what it is. And Overwatch was trolling me on Twitter, baiting me into believing that Lucio was going to get a mythic skin. Am I angry about it? Not really. I think it's really funny that they rage baited me. And I hope they do it again next season. I really hope they do, man. Because I can rage bait him back. I've got a great plan up my sleeve. So test me next time, Overwatch. I've got something special for you. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. More yap videos coming about some random stuff. I'm probably going to upload stuff just from streams about random stuff I yap about. So, you know, to keep this channel a bit more alive throughout the season. So, yeah. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Peace out. Hope you had fun this season. And I'll see you later. Make sure you drink water, guys. Trust me. I'm going to die.